Hi, welcome back to Lattes with Dr. Llama. I'm Dr. Llama. Here on Lattes with Dr. Llama, we live for wool and bleed espresso. Last week, you learned how to do your knit stitch, which gave you this beautiful gartered edge on the bottom of what will be a coaster. So come on in a little bit closer and let's purl. Purling is essentially the opposite of knitting. All of these right here, that right there, those are called purl bumps. You can actually use them to keep track of your work and count how many rows you've done. We've got 1, 2 purl ridges, which means we've got 4 total rows. Purling starts the same as knitting. You move your stitches up and hold them in your non-dominant hand. When we knit, we put our working needle in from front to back. When we purl, we're going to do exactly the opposite. We're going to put our working needle in from back to front. So now the X is in the front of your work. I actually think purling is a little bit easier because you can see exactly what you're doing. It's not behind the work. You wrap it around, you pull it through. Wrap it around and pull it through, much like the knit stitch. So again, from back to front, wrap it around. See, there's my stitch right there. And using this front needle, you pull it through and slip it off. Back to front, wrap it over, pull it through. You're going to do that all the way down the row. Just like before, you turn your work, and now you can see the difference. Here's a purl ridge, and here is a knit stitch. One's flat and one's bumpy. Here's your purl ridges right here, and that's a knit stitch. We're going to knit across, you learned this in the last video, to the end of the row. And I mentioned this in the last video, I'll bring it up again. Every now and then take a moment and check how many stitches you have at the end of the row. You may find that you have more or less than you cast on. That means that you either dropped a stitch or you picked up a stitch along the way. Not the end of the world. This is a very forgiving project. Well, when your yarn doesn't get stuck. But overall, it usually means that you need to slow down and check yourself before you wreck yourself. So now we're going to flip it again. We're back to a purl row. See? You can see those purl bumps right there. Now to make this more interesting, we're going to do a garter edge. We learned garter last time is when you knit every row. Stockinette is where you do knitting on the front side of your work and purling on the back. We're going to do a 4-stitch garter on every side, which means on every row, no matter if it's a knit or purl, you're going to knit the first and last 4 stitches. So we're going to knit 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we're going to purl across 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and knit. 1, 2, 3, 4. Flip your work. Because we are knitting every single row, on this one, even though you see 4 purl bumps, beginning, we're going to knit all the way across. And look at that nice flat stockinette you're starting to see. Knitting across, you knit all 20 stitches. The great thing about this purl edge is it's going to keep your work from curling. Knitting curls when you just knit flat stockinette. You have to either block it, which is a pain. You have to iron it, which isn't great for it. There are some projects you're going to have to block or iron no matter what. But on most things, by simply knitting 3 or 4 stitches at the beginning and end of every single row, you can avoid that curl. Knit across all 20. I'm going to flip it again. We're back to our purl. In most patterns, when you learn to read a pattern, you're going to see the purl side referred to as the wrong side and the knit side referred to as the right side. Anytime that's not the case, the pattern will tell you, but if it just says right or wrong side means purl, right side means knit. So one last time. We're on our purl side. We're going to knit the first 4 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4. Bring the yarn to the front. Purl 12 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Bring the yarn to the back and knit 4 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4. So today we learned purl, which gives you that beautiful flat stockinette on the front of your work. Keep practicing these stitches. You're going to go ahead and do it until your coaster is the size you want it to be. I like about 4 or 5 inches, but whatever works for you. When you get to the top of your coaster, you're going to go ahead and knit 4 rows, no purling. That'll give it that nice garter edge at the bottom and help it lay flat. Until next time, I'm Dr. Llama, and I can't think of sign off. I'm Dr. Llama. Stay caffeinated.